1 point with Arnold Gamboa. 1 point with Arnold Gamboa. 1 point with Arnold Gamboa. 1 point.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, 1 Point fam, and welcome to our Saturday 1 Point. This is Arnold. For those of you who came in for the first time, or you probably are watching us for the first time on even sa live siguro or on replay, thank you for joining me today. This is Arnold, and this is 1 Point, a conversation about faith, hope, and love. We want to talk about we love to talk about our faith here at 1 Point. We love to explore our faith, and some of you probably are still trying to figure out your faith in God. And this is our conversation. We want to have this conversation about our faith, and we also would like to take about to talk about giving hope to everyone, because this is at one of those times where we need hope. Kailangan natin ng pag-asa sa buhay, and a lot of things that we hear on social media nowadays, a lot of things that we see on Facebook or even on YouTube, we see things that are seemingly like things that doesn't provide hope. Minsan hindi pa magandang discussions ang nangyayari. Yun ang problema, yun ang problema ng naririnig natin ngayon. So we aim to provide hope through this live stream, Saturday broadcast, Saturday live stream. And of course, we would like to share the love of God, and we all need to experience the love of God. Some of us, we probably have heard about the love of God. We probably know about the love of God, but we have not really experienced the love of God. And this is our purpose here. We want to experience the love of God. And by understanding it, we will be able to experience the love of God. And so, my favorite 1 Point fam, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being with me today. And I'd like to request you, if this is your first time to listen in, or to you just passing by, hindi nyo pa ako masyadong kilala, and that's fine. I'd like you to type in our comment box. Comment box lang tayo diyan para meron tayong attendance, so that I can see you, I can know that you are here today. I'm going to give some shout out later on, and I'm going to let you, for those of you who gave their comments, I'm going to show this on screen. Why don't we do that na? Kung sino nandito na, gawin na natin yan. Siyempre, nandito yung aking sister, si Candy. Nag-wait daw siya kanina. Okay, si Ate Ruth, always here, always present. Thank you for joining us today. Ayusin ko lang to, ha? Alright. Thank you for joining us today. And si Ate Tess, I hope that Ate Tess is still here. Ate Tess, thank you for joining me this evening. Yung aking kapatid ay bumabati na. Of course, my daughter Arwen is in the living room and she's watching. I hope that she'll understand what we're talking about today, while probably she's playing her Roblox. Okay lang yan, Arwen. And Julina is also here with us today. Thank you for joining us today. Si my dad, my papa, is here. Ay, anak daw. Thank you for joining. And of course, si Ate Ruth, sabi niya, thank you. Nico is here. I don't know if Nico, you're the Nico that I know over at our work. Thank you for joining. If you are the Nico that I know. Yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. Si Candy, of course, my sister Candy is also here with us today. Alright, so ganun lang gagawin natin ngayon. Just stay in. And for the next, I don't know, probably 30-40 minutes, we're going to talk about a lot of things today. And one of the things that we are going to be talking about is a very sensitive topic. And this sensitive topic is the topic on depression. Uh, and depression is something that I don't know, medyo maaaring a lot of us are experiencing this phenomenon, majority of us nowadays. And what we're going to try to do today is to see from the biblical perspective how we can, as community, defeat depression. And this is a very sensitive topic, and I know baka sa inyo, iba sa inyo dyan, you're suffering from depression, and we're going to try to figure that out eventually later on. So stick by and keep being with us. If you have some questions, just let us know through the comment section, and we will be trying to answer that. Sana kaya kong masagot, pero kung hindi, well, I'll figure it out eventually, and in the next broadcast, I'm going to try to answer that for you. So just keep the comments coming, and I'm going to start our topic later on.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
Before we get started with our main topic tonight, what I'm going to be asking you is a simple thumbs up. Okay? Thumbs up lang. And you subscribe. Kasi ganito yon. Yung Facebook algorithm, the way for Facebook to share content is different from the way YouTube contents are being shared. Alam naman natin, majority of us use Facebook, and what you do when you want to share Facebook is you just share it on your timeline. That's what you do. But on on YouTube, it's different. For you to share the content, you need to like, and of course, if you're not yet subscribed, you can subscribe to this channel. If you're not yet subscribed, you click like and subscribe, because when you click like and you make some comments on my videos, what will happen is that YouTube will recognize that, and they will realize, Facebook algorithm will realize that this content is something that is shareable, or something that other people can also enjoy watching. So if you have not liked this particular broadcast or this particular feed yet, mag-like na kayo. Madali lang naman yan. Meron tayong di ba? Meron tayong challenge. Meron tayong challenge. Road to 1,000 challenge. Road to 1,000 challenge. Itong Road to 1,000 challenge natin, I am challenging everyone to join me kasi, as I explained before, this endeavor that I'm trying to do is not, to monetize my Facebook account. Although monetizing it is not really a bad thing. Other people do that, but that's not my goal. My goal is not to monetize this, but my goal is to let more people see and view and watch this video, because we want to share the hope and the love of God to as many people as possible. So you can join me in doing this. Ang natin, Road to 1,000, ito na yung natin, yung ating update. Update natin, meron na tayong 987 subscribers. 987 subscribers. So, konti na lang yan, ha? Konti na lang. Ilan na lang? Kung magaling tayo sa math, siguro mga 13 likes na. 13, na lang yan? 13 subscriptions. 1,000 subscribers na tayo. Yun ang first, natin, milestone. So, 1,000 subscribers. And join me in trying to achieve this goal. Para maraming makapanood ng ating videos, ng ating mga ng ginagawa natin dito every Saturday. Now, I mentioned before that we'll have some fun when we achieve 1,000. Baka next week, makuha na natin yan. We're going to raffle off 1,000 pesos worth of Lazada gift certificate. Okay? Alam niyo itong mga t-shirts ko na to, galing yan sa Lazada. Baka later on, pamigay din natin to. Bili tayo sa Lazada and then we'll send this over to you. All right. So every one of you who have joined me for the past few months, a couple of months now, I'm going to write it down and then you will be part of the raffle, 1,000 pesos worth of Lazada gift certificate. Napaka-lead lang naman yan, pero just for the sake of fun, gawin natin yan, ha? Sige, yan ang first goal natin. Road to 1,000. Yan, road to 1,000.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
One of the things that I'd like to ask from you is to send in, if you have some questions, send in your questions, whatever it is that that pertains to your faith. If you have some questions regarding the Bible or your walk with God, or faith in general, if the lack of faith that you have, if you're skeptic about faith, whatever it is that you feel like asking for this particular broadcast, let me know, because I'm planning to have a dedicated Q&A episode. I don't know when that will happen, as soon as I gather enough content, enough questions from you. I'll be preparing for that, and I'll be trying to answer, to start or to have a Q&A episode. Maganda tong Q&A episode nito, I guarantee you. There will be some questions that you might want to know the answer for, and this is the time for you to do that. This is the time for you to be able to ask that question. So send me the email, the question, over at arnold.gamboa@gmail.com. And again, that's arnold.gamboa@gmail.com. And when you do that, of course, I'm going to see if that is something that we can answer for another episode. Ma-feature kayo dun sa episode natin, and we're going to have that Q&A episode in the future, maybe next week, maybe the following week. But as long as the more questions that you send, the better, the faster that we can have the content to talk about for a particular episode. All right, so send in your questions, your Q&A for our Q&A episode. Whatever question that you have in mind about your faith, about your lack of faith, if you're skeptic about faith, or we're talking about any question about God, about Jesus, about the Bible, let's talk about that, and we're going to have this discussion today. All right, so start na tayo sa ating main topic today.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
Do you feel depressed today? Or do you feel down, sad? You feel that you don't want to have anything to do with any people, and you just would like to sleep, and for some of you, maybe you are lacking sleep and you're trying to figure out how to gather enough strength for the day. You might be experiencing depression. You might be experiencing the lack of opportunity to care for yourself, and that's the reason why you are experiencing depression. What will you do if you are experiencing depression? And more importantly, what will you do to avoid experiencing depression in the future? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I have a friend, and just this week, nag-message siya sa akin. Sabi niya, Kuya, I think I'm experiencing depression. And he is saying that he would sleep and wake up at around 2 o'clock in the morning and will not be able to regain the sleep. Hindi na siya nakakatulog ulit. And sometimes he would just do nothing. He will just uh, wala siyang gustong gawin. Wala siyang motivation na gawin. Wala siyang motivation in general. He doesn't want to do anything at work or at home. Well, he's just feeling down. He's feeling sad. And he is experiencing depression according to him. Now, I think a lot of us are experiencing that nowadays. And depression is real. We have to understand that first and foremost. Depression is real. It is happening because people are experiencing problems in life. They probably have some problems with their relationships. They probably have some problems with their work. And they probably have some problems with their lack of purpose. Now, depression is a huge problem, and it's a huge discussion. And I don't want to come across somebody who is expert on the topic of depression. Depression can be, for some, what they call clinical depression. Clinical depression is a depression that is caused by your chemical imbalance within your body. You need to seek help. You need to seek medical help. If that is you, you need to seek professional help. It could be psychiatric help or you need to visit a psychologist to help you out to figure out what to do if you are feeling depressed with that symptoms that I've talked about a while ago. But what I'm going to be doing is to share with you, because I believe that there is the spiritual component of depression. Okay? Yun yung tatry natin na pag-usapan. We are going to be talking about the spiritual component of depression because I think a lot of us are experiencing depression, and it can be prevented if only we know how to do it. And if we're going to follow certain things that the Bible or a relationship with God dictates that we should do. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Depression is real. It can be anything about your physical issues. You might have a physical issue that you need to consult a doctor for that. But today we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of depression. Now, when we talked about depression over at our church, one of our pastors, Pastor Mike, he said that depression is not defeated. It is only prevented. Depression is not defeated. It is only prevented. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Trying to defeat depression trying to overcome depression may not be an honest thing to do. Bakit? Bakit natin nasabi na hindi yun honest thing to do? Because, depression can actually happen to any one of us. I experienced depression in the past. You probably are experiencing depression in the past. And just saying na, I don't want to be depressed anymore and I'll do this to not be depressed. No. Parang hindi yata makatotohanan yon. When you say, hindi ko na gustong maging depressed, gagawin ko tong bagay na to. Pag sinabi mo yon, sometimes this is something, when you do that, it leads to even more damage to yourself. For some people, this leads to addiction. Because you want to beat your depression, to defeat your depression, you take in unnecessary unnecessary medicine or unnecessary whatever substance that is that you want or you take just to beat your depression. No, you don't try to beat your depression. You will just have to prevent depression from happening in your life. And so what we're going to try to do tonight for the next few minutes is to understand how we can, instead of trying to beat depression, how can we prevent depression? Because depression can be prevented before depression happens to you. You can actually prevent depression from happening. So here's the first thing that we can do. You can prevent depression from happening first and foremost if you focus on the truth and not emotions. First, to prevent depression, you need to focus on truth and not emotions. Because the reality is that our emotions are driven by what we have in our minds. What we think about drives our emotions. The thing though is that our emotions drives, if we make our emotions drive what we think instead of the other way around, that's the time that we feel uh, depressed. So, for instance, you would feel that you lack something in your life. You have a problem with your relationship, and that because you are so much involved with a relationship, you feel depressed. Now, if we do it the other way around, if we let the truth manage our hearts instead of the other way around, if we let the truth in our minds manage what we feel, we will now understand that our that depression can be prevented. Because even before we fall to depression, we can be objective enough. We can be objective enough to figure out what the problem really is all about. Ito yung sinasabi sa Bible sa Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Ito yun. Sabi dito, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve that what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. The issue with a lot of us is that we let our emotions drive us. We let our emotions drive us. Hindi yung truth. No? Sabi ni Rick Warren, kasi ang karamihan sa atin ganito ang nangyayari sa atin, we let our emotions define what we feel. We let our emotions define what we believe to be true. No? Sasabihin natin, if I feel this, no, if I feel this way, this might be true. Hindi totoo 'yon. The fact is, you have to think what is the truth and let that dictate what your emotions should be. Right? So yun ang unang-una natin pwedeng gawin para ma-avoid natin ang depression. Let your mind dictate, let the truth dictate what you feel, not the other way around. So some feelings is good. No, I'm not saying you don't manage your feelings. I'm not saying you don't recognize what you feel. It is okay to recognize what you feel, obviously. But what I'm saying is that before you even let your feelings get you out of control, let the facts define what you feel. So, kung ano man yung problema mo, kung ano man yung alam mo na magiging cause ng depression mo, relationships, it could be you at work, it could be It could be uh, your your situation at ano ba ang nagko-cause sa atin ng depression, if say for instance you have some problems with your friends, whatever it is that uh, is potentially going to cause you depression, you think about it, the truth about it first before letting your emotions dictate what uh, what your feelings should be. All right, so that's number one. Number two is this: how can we prevent depression? Number two is that we think positive things and not the negative things. Focus on the positive things, not on the negative things. Sometimes some people will tell you to think positively, right? And I don't have any problem with thinking positively, but what I'm trying to tell you right now to prevent being depressed is not for you to think positively just for the sake of thinking positively. Alam mo yung tinatawag natin na toxic positivity? Merong ganun eh. You don't think positively just for the sake of thinking positively. No. Meron dapat tayong iisipin na truth na sinasabi nga natin kanina. You think positive things and not the negative things. Don't be negative. No? Ano yung mga positive things na kailangan mong isipin? Ito yung makikita natin sa Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. Sabi dito, finally, brothers and sisters, i-underline, if you have a Bible with you, Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, you underline this, ha? Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, think about this, ha? Sabi ni Lee dito. Ito yung last, think about such things. Ano yung think about such things? Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. For you to avoid depression, instead of thinking negative things, instead of thinking the setbacks that you have just experienced, instead of thinking about the potential problems that may happen in the future, instead of thinking about the issues that is happening now and maybe going to happen in the future, instead of think about those things, those negative things, think about such things. Sabi ng Bible, thinks about what is true, what is noble, what is right, what is pure, what is lovely, what is admirable. Think about excellent things. Think about praiseworthy things. Halimbawa, think about how God has blessed you instead of the setbacks that you have experienced in the past, or the things that you are experiencing right now, the setbacks that you're experiencing right now. What about thinking about the lovely things that you have received from the people that you love? How about thinking the truth about the love of God in your life? Think about all these things. It's just a matter of setting your minds in the right things, in the right perspective. Because the more you talk about and you think about negative things in your life, the more you're going to be drawn to negative things. And when that happens, the more you're going to slide down into depression. And that's what the thing that we don't want to happen. We don't want you to slide down deeper into depression. So when you start feeling about being depressed, when you start feeling the sadness, the loneliness, feeling down, start thinking about what is noble. Start thinking about what is right, what is pure, what is lovely, what is admirable, what is praiseworthy. You think about the blessings of God in your life. You think about the things, the people that love you, the people that encourages you. Those things that will eventually uplift your spirit. Think about all those things. And sometimes for people who are negative people like me, alam niyo sa to lang, problema ko yan minsan. Problema ko rin tong mga bagay na to. And for people like me, maybe that's you today, it's hard to do that. No, to think about the praiseworthy things, to think about positive things, but it's something that you need to do consciously so that you can avoid being depressed. And so again, depression is not going to be something that we need to overcome or to beat, because the reality is that that happens naturally over the course of our life. Sometimes we fall into that situation, and we don't try to solve that. We don't try to fix that, because when that happens, we might be digging ourselves even deeper into other things, other problems, other addictions, or whatever it is that may cause us from trying to solve that problem. But instead of doing that, even before that happens, try to to solve these things from happening in your life. Focus on the truth and not on your emotions, and then focus on the positive things and not on the negative things. Focus on those things, and you can prevent being depressed, and you can prevent the uh, the things that might happen to you, things that you don't probably want to happen, but it's happening to you right now.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
Now, the question now is this: What if? What if you are now experiencing depression? Paano nang gagawin natin? What if you are feeling down, and if you are someone that is already really deep in depression? Kasi alam nyo yung depression, it has uh, a wide range of classifications. Some of you probably are just sad. Some of you are just probably experiencing some loneliness. But others on the other extreme, they might be thinking about, God forbid, killing themselves, taking their own lives. That's what depression uh, can do to us. Now, if you are in that situation today, here are two things that I want you to do. Here are two things that I want you to really consider doing. The first thing is for you to ask for help. Okay? If you are deep into depression today, don't hesitate to talk to a friend. That's the thing that you need to do. Wag niyong wag niyong i-solve ang problema niyo na nag-iisa lang kayo. Don't try to solve your problem on your own, because when you do that, you're just digging yourself deep, even more deeper into depression. What you need to do is to try to talk to a friend. Ask for help. It can be your close friend, your relative that you know, your brother, your sister that you know, you can confide to. Don't hesitate to confide or to talk to your friend. For those of you who are coming to church regularly, and I also tell this to our church and to my life group, because we have a group of people that we call life groups. Uh, I have my own life group. Ang tawag namin sa life group namin is Iron Man, and this group of men who meet together every week, once a week. Uh, in the past, before the pandemic, we meet physically and talk about life. Uh, what happens is, you know, if if you are coming to church regularly and you have some people, you have some friends at church, don't hesitate to talk to them. Tell them about your problems. Because if you don't, you are going to be digging yourself even deeper into depression. And we don't want that to happen. Call a friend. Uh, if you don't feel like talking to a friend, there are some anonymous uh, counselors, people that you can call. There are hotlines. I can share with you what it is in the future. If you want to, you can just email me if you want, and we can talk about that. We can I can share with you a hotline that you can call so that you can prevent yourself from going even deeper into depression. The next thing that you can do when you are currently in that situation is to rekindle your relationship with God. Try to think about your relationship with God in the future that might have been lost because of the problems that has gone your way. Or maybe if you don't have a relationship with God yet, consider your relationship with God. Try to think about reconnecting with God once again. Because, when you understand that God is with you will see for yourself and you will understand that God is not letting you go through this life alone. You have somebody with you. And somebody that is bigger, in fact, bigger than you. God wants to reconnect with you. God wants to reconnect with you. He wants to let you not suffer emotionally yourself, ikaw lang sa sarili mo, and He wants to minister to you. So if you have had your relationship with God, uh, you know, forgotten, or probably you have nakalimutan nyo na naiwasan nyo, nakalimutan nyo na ang relationship nyo with God in the past, that might be an indication, and this is not always the case, okay? This might be an indication why you are feeling depressed nowadays. And if that is the case, maybe this is the time for you to reconnect with God, rekindle your relationship with God, because God wants you to come to Him. God wants you to run to Him. If you have some problems, that's His desire. He wants you to be that person. He wants you to run to Him as the first person to run to and not the last person to run to. And how can you do that? Just say a quick prayer. You say, Lord, I don't know what to do today. Lord, I'm running away from you, and that's probably the reason why I am suffering from loneliness and heartaches today. And maybe this is already depression, Lord. So if that is you today, you just talk to God in prayer. It can happen later on after our broadcast. You can uh being alone, perhaps you can just close your eyes, and if you don't want to close your eyes, that's fine, but you can talk to God. um you can talk to Him as if He is with you, seated beside you, because that's the truth. Jesus is omnipresent because He is God. He is seated beside you, and He can hear you, whatever it is that in your mind, in your heart. He can be with you in the times that you need Him to be with you. He wants you to talk with Him. He wants you to uh, become your friend, and that's probably the best decision that you can make when you are in the situation that you are in today. So two things that you can do if you are suffering from depression today. First and foremost, you ask for help. Talk to your friend, to a friend, whoever that is. Tell him, tell her that you are experiencing depression today. PM lang, okay na yan. If social, if meeting in person is not possible at this time. You can send a PM, quick PM. You can call a hotline for depression, or number two, and you rekindle your relationship with God, because God wants you to run to Him when you experience depression.
1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
I don't know if for those of you who are joined with us today, I don't know if any one of you are experiencing depression. Sana, if you are experiencing that, you call a friend, huh? Now na, you call a friend and talk to them about your problems. And if not, and also you try to reconnect with God. You rekindle your emotions, rekindle your relationship with God. Just say hi. So for those of you who are logged on right now, say hi in our chat box. Let me just I don't know if Nico is still here. Sabi ni Nico, ako nga. Kasi si Nico yung isa sa mga batikan at magagaling na designer sa amin sa company. Thank you for joining us today, Nico. And Kenneth, pamangkin ko to si Kenneth oh. Anak ng pinsan ko, si Ate Jinky. Thank you for send my regards to Ate Jinky. Okay? My wife is here also. Yan. Siyempre, dapat lang. Thank you for joining us today. My one of our life group leaders, yung nabanggit ko kanina, si Carlos is also here. Umabol daw siya. Nandiyan ka ba, Carlos? Thank you for joining me today. Si Auntie Ebong Esther Luayon, I hope Alexis is also with you today. Thank you for joining me at one point tonight. Always very passionately joining me. Si Kat also is here with us today. Thank you, Kat, for joining me. Sana si Coach Melvin is also here today. Just let him log in so that he can join us. So kung sino pa sa inyo hindi nagko-comment, say hi. Just say hi because I'd like to give a shout out. If you have not subscribed yet, okay? If you have not subscribed yet, click subscribe, or if you have not liked yet, click that like button. Madali lang naman yan. Madaling mag-like button. Kasi when you give a like button, if you press that like button, we are going to be bumped up by YouTube algorithm, and more people are going to be experiencing or watching this video or this live stream that we have this evening.
1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
I'd like to talk about, before we end, I'd like to talk about the importance of a church community. And our church community, Life City Church, we will be celebrating. Sorry about that. We will be celebrating Life City Church. Our church community will be celebrating our anniversary tomorrow. So if some of you are with us today who are part of Life City, tomorrow, don't forget our celebration. And I was reminded of the importance of our. Let me pull this. Okay, I was reminded of the importance of church community, because some of you probably are part of a church community, some of you are not. And if you're not part of a church community, that's fine, but I hope that you will consider being part of one, because I've talked about depression a while ago, and you know what? Being part of a church community is very essential for you uh, to avoid being depressed. You know why? Because being part of a church community will provide you with the necessary encouragements that the church can give you and you need, no? Because when you are depressed and when you're about to slide into depression, you will need as much as many encouragements as you can. And you can, the best place to get positive encouragements, positive reinforcements is through your church community. This is what Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 said. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. It says, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as someone as in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as we see that day approaching." What the writer of of Hebrews is saying is this, no? That people, he was actually talking to the church. He's saying that don't forget to come together regularly. They come together regularly every Sunday as a church. And they said some people are neglecting coming to church. Do not neglect do not neglect coming to church regularly, because you know what, when you come to church, when you meet your church community, you know what will happen? You will spur one another. You need, you need the warmth of everyone at church. You need the warmth of people at your church. You need to be encouraged, sabi dito. But uh, not giving up meeting together as some of the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. Encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So you see, when you come to church, the first thing that will happen is that when you will feel the warmth of people, the spurring one another, no, the spur one another on toward love and good deeds. And then secondly, you will be encouraged by people around you, by people who love you genuinely, by people who share the same beliefs, that share the same passion for Jesus, and the same love of God that they also have for you. And so that's the most important thing for you when you are experiencing or about to experience um, yung depression. You need to be together with people that uh, that share the same faith, share the same love that you can find in church. And so, if you have not been attending church for quite some time now, you need to come back to church online. Majority of us, we do it online nowadays. When the time comes, when the time, uh, when you can meet together physically, just go to church, and don't forget to join or fellowship with the people at church. And or if you have not really tried church before, try to look for a Bible believing church so that you can be cared for by the people at church. That's the first thing that you need to do when you're experiencing depression.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
All right, we're about to end. Malapit na mag-8 o'clock. Thank you again for joining me. If you have some questions, if you have some, ano ba to? If you have some questions about faith, about your relationship with God, don't hesitate to send me a quick email. Kasi when you send a quick email, I'm going to compile that, and we can create um, an episode about the questions that you have in mind. Okay, that could be that could be that could be translated into something that is more that is going to be interesting for all of us. Okay, so don't forget to send in your questions. Send in to Arnold Gamboa at gmail.com. And don't forget, we still have our Road to 1,000 challenge. Malapit na ang ating goal na ma-achieve. Yan. 987 na tayo. Meron bang 987 na tayo. So, don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done that yet, so that we can achieve our road to 1,000. Hopefully by next week, maano na natin yan. Masabi na natin yan, magawa na natin yan. Achieve na natin. Sorry, si Auntie Ebong, sabi niya, nandiyan daw si Alexis. Hi, Alexis. And si Carlos is also here. Thank you guys for joining me today. And hopefully I can see you again next week for another episode of 1 Point, a conversation about faith, hope, and love. See you again next Saturday. I always say this, that whoever finds God finds life. And at the same time, Jesus is enough.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.